channel. Today I am so excited because I'm gonna be doing a book recommendations video, but not only book recommendations, they're summer book recommendations, and I am so excited. I feel like summer is so much fun. Like reading in the summer is just the ultimate vibe. Oh, Lily is here, and I have so many books to recommend you. Literally, I had the whole couch full, but I was like, I want you to be surprised when I pick out the book. So move them all over here, but trust me, there's a lot of them next to Lily. But I love reading in the summer, and I feel like the vibes for summer is romance. Like I feel like most people enjoy reading romance in the summer, so all of these books are romances. I have nothing, no literary fiction, no thrillers, because I don't read thrillers, anything like that. These are all romance books. So if you are a summer romance girly, these are for you. Most of these are, they have spice, they are spicy, like one or two scenes or a lot of spice. And then I also have some books that are closed door, which I think I'm gonna leave to the end so I can like kind of organize them, because some of these books may have one scene, but they do have spice. So if you want like YA closed door book recs, I will specify those. And I'll probably have them more towards the end because I have the other ones kind of front facing. So here we go. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some summer book recs. I am so excited. I have a long list because I don't own all of these. Also, I decided to split up my summer book recs and my summer TBR because I have so many recs and I have so many books on my summer TBR. So I'm gonna do a whole different video on that. So that should be coming in the next week or so. So if you wanna know what's on my summer TBR, you can watch that soon. So first, Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is her new release. It came out in April. I love this book so much. It's one of my favorites of the year, and it follows Justin and Emma, and basically they meet on a Reddit thread where they both have the same curse of the person, like after them and their partner break up, they go on to meet their soulmate, and so they decide to date to kind of like combat the curse. As you can see, the cover is very much like summer vibes. It's called Just for the Summer. It takes place in Minnesota in the summer, but it's very emotional. So if you're wanting like an emotional summer romance, this is for you. Also, I do recommend reading Part of Your World and Your Shirley before you read this, but it's perfect for the summer. It's so good, and I loved it so much. I feel like Abby Jimenez is so good. Like if you just want to binge a book, this is the book to binge. It's literally perfect, bingeable read. I just love her book so much. Next is Funny Story by Emily Henry. Literally any of Emily Henry's books is going to give you the summer vibes, but this is her new release and my personal favorite by her. It follows Miles and Daphne, and basically Daphne is engaged to this guy. He breaks up with her and ends up going to date his childhood best friend, and his childhood best friend was dating Miles, and then Miles and Daphne become roommates. So it's kind of like a roommate's forced proximity. You're getting these summer vibes in Michigan, and it's just so good. I feel like this is just so like real and raw and just like fun. The setting, the vibes, the romance. I love Miles so much, and I love Daphne. Daphne's a librarian, and it's just so fun. I feel like this is so real and like feels like real people, real characters that like you're just watching from the outside. I don't know. It's so good. Next is A Love Like the Sun by Riss and Nilsson. This just came out. I got an arc of this actually at the bookshop. They were giving out like blind date with a book little bags. I opened it in my vlog when I went to Nashville with Zoe. She came to visit, and then we went to Ohio. This is the one that I got, and it is so good. It's the perfect summer read. It is more emotional, so if you're wanting a more emotional read, highly recommend this. This follows Linnea and Isaac. It is childhood friends to lovers, best friends to lovers, a little bit of a celebrity romance, and I loved it so much. It is just more on the emotional side, but the writing is absolutely beautiful, and this is her adult debut, and it's incredible. So love this for the summer, obviously. Next is The Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. This is her new release, and it was so good. So this follows Lucy and Felix, and basically Lucy goes to Prince Edward Island to go on vacation with her best friend Bridget. When she gets there, Bridget isn't there yet, so she meets Felix and ends up having a night with him, wakes up the next day and realizes Felix is Bridget's brother. So you're following that. The setting is so good. Like you just want to be on Prince Edward Island. It's so good, and the vibes are just perfect. Like her writing is so summery. The friendship aspects, the setting, the vibes. Just a really, really great summer read. Next is Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the second book after Icebreaker. You do not have to read Icebreaker first, but I did really enjoy that one as well, but I loved Wildfire even more. So this follows Russ and Aurora, and basically they go to college together, and they like meet, have a night together, don't plan to see each other again, and they end up being camp counselors at the same camp. So you're getting the summer camp vibes, which is so fun. This did come out last fall, like in October. I bet October is, wait, hold on. It's like spring going into summer for Australians. And I think Hannah Grace is either Australian. I feel like she's Australian. I'm not sure. But this probably came out like in the warmer weather in Australia, but for us in the US, it came out in the fall. Anyways, it's the perfect summer read. It is spicy, very spicy. All the previous books aren't insanely spicy. Well, the summer will be different is a little bit, but this is pretty spicy. I feel like Hannah Grace's books are pretty spicy, but it's just so good. I feel like her communication, she makes romances that are like realistic. The communication is so good. They're so sweet and endearing. Russ is just a sweetie, so I loved Wildfire. Next, Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. If you want a golf romance, this is gonna do it for you. It's very spicy, but it's just a fun, good time. It's about Wells and his caddy, Josephine. I don't know when golf plays, but it takes place in Florida, so I feel like this is just the summer vibes. Also, the second book, The Au Pair Affair, comes out in July, so read this and prep for that. Next is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This is her new release that came out in April, I think, and it's the first book in her new series, the Rose Hill series, and it follows Ford and Rosie. And basically, Ford is this like billionaire. He moves back to the small town and is opening a recording studio, and Rosie comes home, who is his best friend's little sister, I think. Yeah, you're just following them. He is like so smitten with her, and it's just so good. So this is very spicy. Elsie Silver's books are very spicy, but it's just so good, so fun, and I really enjoyed it. I'm very excited for the next book that comes out in September. Also, the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver is obviously a great summer read, but I feel like I talked about that before and so many people talk about that, and this is her new release. So if you want to like get started with the first book in a series by Elsie Silver, highly recommend Wild Love, and the cover is beautiful. Next is You with a View by Jessica Joyce. This is a road trip romance, so it follows Noelle and Theo, and basically Noelle is kind of wanting to learn about her grandmother, and she ends up going on a road trip, and Theo ends up going with her. I feel like it's like has a decent bit of spice, but it's just a really fun time. The cover is beautiful, and her new release, The X-Files, comes out in July, which I'm very excited about. So I feel like Jessica Joyce's writing is so good. Literally, like her writing, her metaphors, it's just so good. So I highly recommend this. It's a good summer read. It does touch on grief, so just to let you know, no one is surprised by this next recommendation, and that is the Rebel Blue Ranch series. So it's Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled, and then Lost and Lassoed comes out in November, and I got an early arc of it. Oh my goodness, it's so good. But to prep yourself for that, you should be reading these two. They are small town cowboy romances, as you can tell by the covers, which are just absolutely beautiful. So this is following Emmy and Luke. Basically, Emmy ends up moving back home in Meadowlark, Wyoming, and she runs into her brother's best friend, Luke. Very good. And then Swift and Saddled, which is one of my favorite romances of the year, and it follows Wes and Ada. Wes is Emmy's brother, and basically Wes is renovating the guest ranch on Rebel Blue Ranch and hires Ada to help him, and it's so good. Also, these audiobooks are like 7 hours, so if you want a quick audiobook with great narration, highly recommend these, and they're just so fun for summer and just any time of year. I love them and will rave about them forever. So they do have spice. I feel like Done and Dusted is spicier than Swift and Saddled. They're still so good. I feel like you could easily skip those. Also, I have the chapters of Done and Dusted to skip. If you want them, just DM me and I can tell you them, but I feel like if you take those out, for the most part, they are pretty wholesome rom-coms. Also, the mental health rep in Swift and Saddled is so good. So then we have this series, the Campus Diaries series by Elle Kennedy. So this is The Graham Effect and The Dixon Rule. I also have over here the Off Campus series because I love this series so much, and I do recommend reading this before you read the Campus Diary series. Hockey romances, college, and it's just so good. The Found Family, love it so much. And I just need to mention that before, oh no, everything's falling. I needed to mention that before I talk about these because I do recommend reading those first and the Bar U series first, but if you don't want to, you can just read these. I definitely think the Dixon Roll is very summery vibe, so that's kind of why I'm recommending them, because I feel like most of this takes place in the summer. So The Graham Effect follows Gigi Graham, who is Hannah and Garrett's daughter from The Deal in the Off Campus series, and her and Ryder don't really get along. When they first meet, you just kind of follow them. They're both hockey players. And then in this one, you're following Shane and Diana, who are best friends with Gigi and Ryder, and they end up being neighbors at this like apartment complex, and you're just seeing them in the summer by the pool, those kinds of things. And yeah, so I'm not gonna give too much away because they are obviously long, so I feel like most of the plot happens like 150 pages in, but they're just really fun. They are spicy. All of Elle Kennedy's books are spicy, but they're just a really great time. There is emotional aspects, but I feel like the humor, the banter, the Found Family is so good. I do have two more that I don't own. First is Mixed Signals by B.K. Borison. This is the third book in the Love Light series, and it is in the summer. So each book in the series is a different season. So Love Light Farms is winter, In the Weeds is spring, Mixed Signals is summer, and then Business Casual that comes out next month is in the fall. But Mixed Signals follows Caleb and Layla, and Layla works at a I don't remember. I don't remember much about Mixed Signals, but I really did love it, and it is just so fun for summer. I feel like the whole series is just really good if you want to binge it before the next one comes out, and I just love BK Borson's writing. So there is spice in this, but it's a great time. Then I have This Used to Be Us by Renee Carlino. I don't know when this comes out, but it is very emotional, very heart-wrenching. So if you want like a heart-wrenching read this summer, I recommend This Used to Be Us. She wrote Before We Were Strangers, which I love so much. Literally my favorite book of all time, one of my favorite books of all time. So I did get to read an arc of this a few months ago, earlier this year, and it's gonna wreck you. So if you want a romance book that will wreck you, I recommend that one. So I think that's all that are like spicier. So now we're gonna get into some that are closed door, no spice. First is this duology by Sarah Adams. So the cheat sheet and the rule book. The cheat sheet is closed door, the rule book has one spicy scene. So I'm just putting them in here because the first one does have no spice, but they are football romances, and this one follows Nathan and Bree, and they're best friends. It's so good. And then you follow Derek and Nora, who used to date in college, and they meet again years later because Nora ends up being his agent because he plays for the LA Sharks with Nathan. And the found family in this is so good. The romance is so good. Sarah Adams books are just so good. I love them so much. You should read any of them. Also this summer, a couple of her indie books are being traditionally published. The Match and the Enemy, I think they both come out this summer, and then the rest come out later this year. So you should just read them. When Rome, Practice Makes Perfect, I talked about, I think, in my spring book recs. Practice Makes Perfect, I definitely did. But these I feel like are giving summer vibes, so I highly recommend them. They're great friend all time. Love Sarah Adams. She's one of my favorite authors of all time. All of these are closed door. So first is But He's My Fake Fiance by Anna Conwell. This is the third book in the Carter Brothers series, which I loved all three of them. I think my favorite is But He's My Grumpy Neighbor, which is the first one. But I feel like the first two take place more in the winter, like February, March-ish. This one takes place in the summer at a very tropical setting. So I highly recommend reading this in the summer, and it is a fake engagement, and it's just so cute, so sweet. I love Anna's books, and I feel like they're just so much fun and like sweet and wholesome and a great time, like quick, easy, and I just love them. So highly recommend this. It's giving a summer vibes. So also, while I'm talking about Anna Conwell, I wanted to mention The Perfect Putt, which just came out. It's her new release this month, and it's a golf romance, a professional golfer and his assistant. So cute, so sweet. I love this book, and it is the second book after The Golden Goal. You don't have to read The Golden Goal to read this one, but they're both really good. This one's just giving summer vibes. It takes place at a little town, a little coastal beach town in Florida, and it's closed door and just so fun. So I love that one, and I love this one. Next, I have a couple books by Haley Gardner. Honestly, I recommend all of her books, but these I feel like give me summer vibes. First is The Duet, and it is the third book in the Falling for Franklin series, which I love the first two, but this is my favorite in that series, and it is a celebrity romance. Brother's best friend, he is a country music artist, and they kind of write a song together, I think, and it's just so good. I loved this so much. I love Haley Gardner's books. I feel like she is such a good author, such a good writer, and her closed door romances, they have no spice, but the tension and like the chemistry is still so good, and I highly recommend it. So I love this one. And then this one came out earlier this year, and it's Girl Meets Grump, and it takes place in the Pacific Northwest, and it's about a grumpy owner of this little cabins, Wildwood, and a travel blogger, Trent and Sydney. And I've talked to Haley Gardner, and this takes place in like August, late August, so it's perfect for the summer. I feel like if you want to wait till then to read it, it's perfect, but it's just giving summer vibes, and the setting is just so good. It's so cozy and sweet. I loved this book, and I cannot wait for the next one. I don't know when it's coming out, but she's going to announce the title soon, and I cannot wait for that book. So love this. It's so good. Next, we also have another interconnected standalone series. You don't have to read these in order, but I do recommend it because they're just so good, and that is the Wells Family series by Juliana Smith. So we have Per My Last Email, which is workplace romance, best friends to lovers, so good. Then we have Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which is romance to lovers, best friend's sister or brother's best friend situation, so good as well. Then we have Rock and a Hard Place, which is second chance romance between divorced parents. They have 2 kids. It's just so good. This is my favorite in the series, and probably my favorite by Juliana Smith. It's just so good. And then the next one, For the Record, comes out in a couple weeks, like the end of June. It's For the Record, and I love this one as well. I got an arc of it, and it's really good. So highly recommend this. It's just such a fun series. I feel like in the summer is like the perfect time to binge like interconnected standalones and get really attached to characters, because you have so much more time to read, so you can just read all these, binge these, and they'll be perfect like by the pool, by the beach. So quick, so fun. They're all on Kindle Unlimited. All the ones that are closed door are on Kindle Unlimited. So I think this is the last adult romance that's closed door, and it is Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. This comes out, or this came out a few days ago, and it is a closed door summer romance, and it takes place in Long Island, and it's about a single mom in her 30s. She has a few kids, and she meets this guy because her dog pees on him in the dog park, and you're following them. It's really good. It's really sweet, and I just love her books. Her writing is so good. She's so good at writing adult romances with chemistry, but without spice. So highly recommend. I've loved all of her books. I recommend them all, but I've talked about them in previous videos, which I meant to say. I tried to mention new books in these videos because I did do a summer book recs video last year and one the year before, so if you want more recs, you can go watch those. I think I've gotten to all of them except my YA recommendation, and that is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett. I love this book. I recently read it, and it follows Bailey, and she lives on the East Coast, but she ends up moving to California to live with her dad in this little coastal town, and she has this pen pal, and he lives in California, but she doesn't tell him she's moving, and then she works at this tourist trap museum, and she meets this guy. She doesn't get along with him, but you're like kind of following that and the pen pal, that situation, and the vibes and the setting of this are so good. It's the perfect summer romance, and it's so fun just for summer, and it's YA, but I feel like it's written so well. Like some YA books I feel like are written so young, but this one is like the perfect YA book to read if you are an adult and you just want like a closed door book. But they are like in they're teenagers, I'm assuming. I don't really know, but I really enjoyed this. It's so fun for summer, and I highly recommend if you are a young adult or if you're an adult who just likes YA summer romances or YA romances in general. Really love that. So, we're done. We're done, guys. We've survived. We've made it. We've made it through this entire video. All of my summer book recs. I hope I didn't forget any because I feel like I've been working on this list for like weeks. Probably in May, I started writing this list because I didn't want to forget anything. So I hope you enjoyed. I also looked at all my books on my bookshelf to make sure I didn't forget anything. But those are my recs for the summer. Some of them are very summery, the summery setting. Some I just feel like are great bingeable books to read for the summer. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon for my next video. Bye.